I think I would say that over the last year, since Trump has been elected, so many of us, even outside of Charlottesville, where there haven't been Nazis and white nationalists marching, in our backyard, we have been overwhelmed and traumatized and exhausted by the daily onslaught. Waking up to Trump's Twitter feed every morning is enough to exhaust any one of us.
I don't follow him, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah, that's wise.
Can't escape him.
But what's interesting is I think many progressive forces were restrained during the Obama administration because, and I can certainly say in communities of color, there was a reluctance to challenge the first black president or create any trouble for him at all because he was catching such hell as it was already. And with the exception of the Black Lives Matter movement, there was not the kind of bold and courageous advocacy that our times really called for over those 8 years. Coming off of an economic crisis and escalating rates of deportation. I mean, mass deportation didn't begin with the Trump administration. It escalated drastically during the Obama administration. And I think many of us look back at that period of time when our news feeds were filled with, the stories of Trayvon Martin and, Eric Brown and on, all of the people who were shot and killed by police. And many of us might have wished bolder, more courageous responses from the president. And we might have demanded more bold and courageous response if he had not been the first black president. And now, as we're entering into this Trump administration, so many of us are reacting to the crises of the day, that we don't carve out time, in my experience in many circles, for imagining what it is we really want. What are we really fighting for? Not just what we're against, or what we're afraid to say because we don't want to harm the first black president, but what do we really want? And as I was mentioning to a few students before this gathering began, my views have really changed over the years. I began as a liberal civil rights lawyer who felt like, look, if we just file another lawsuit or get a meeting with the lieutenant governor, that
anytime
we can fix this thing. But I have to say, in all candor now, after many, many years trying to tinker with the machine, that I don't believe we will get justice for poor people and people of color through our two-party pay-to-play political system. No matter how great individual folks who might be in that system may be. And I also don't think our current economic system is one that will deliver justice for poor people and people of color. And if that's true, if those things are true, then I hope we will carve out some time, even as we resist and even as we react, that we will carve out some time to think boldly and courageously about the new America that we want to birth together. What kind of political system do we actually want? What kind of economic system do we actually want? Are we willing not just to fight against the repeal of Obamacare, but to fight for a health care system that provides universal access to all? To not just fight against Sessions' attempt to rev up the drug war yet again, but to fight for the decriminalization of drug use and drug addiction and the incarceration of people who have health problems. What would a political system look like that was not ruled by cash, that wasn't held hostage to private interests? What would that look like? What do we want to fight for? And this is a time, even in the midst of feeling under siege by this administration, and even as white nationalists feel empowered in this moment, this is the time for us to use our radical imagination and begin to organize and work for the country we actually want to co-create.